I'm going to talk 3 different young adult books at you today. All 3 of them are diverse. They have elements of romance, and then a couple of them have some movies in the works. So we'll talk about that when we get there too. So the first one, The Sun is Also a Star, starts off with Natasha. She only has 24 hours left in America before her family has to go. They immigrated to the United States from Jamaica. They have been living in New York City ever since she can remember. It's her home. She can't imagine relocating anywhere else. She only has 1 day left, and she's determined to do something about this. And then she meets Daniel.
I'm Daniel.
Natasha.
So Daniel was born and raised in New York City, but his parents immigrated from Korea. His parents were dreaming of a better life for themselves and their future family. And now Daniel is looking towards college, and his dad has really high hopes for his college career. And on this particular day, he has an interview to get into one of the most prestigious colleges in the country, Yale. So he's not very excited about it. He started thinking that maybe he wants to follow his own dreams rather than his dad's. So Natasha is racing against the clock so she can stay in America. And Daniel struggles to decide whether or not he wants to go chasing his dad's American dream. And then the two have this little meet cute moment.
Well, this was some meet cute.
They bump into each other, and the day becomes everything that they did not expect. So Daniel immediately falls in love with Natasha, but she initially wants to have nothing to do with him at all whatsoever. She's on a mission. She's trying to get her family to stay in America. All of that to say, even Natasha can't even put her feelings at bay for too long. Will Natasha manage to stop time and keep her family in America? Will Daniel decide to keep the interview appointment and pursue his dreams of Yale? So The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. It's going to remind you maybe a little bit of Romeo and Juliet.
Did my heart love till now?
How much can happen in 24 hours? You might be a little bit surprised. Don't worry, they don't all die in the end, so that's really exciting too. This particular book is being made into a movie, so if you like book-to-movie books, you need to get really excited about this one. Let's talk about To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I'm going to start off by reading a passage from Lara Jean's diary. She says that she likes to save things, and of her most prized possessions are her love letters. She says, I keep my letters in a teal hat box my mom bought me from a vintage store downtown. They aren't love letters that someone else wrote for me. I don't have any of those. These are ones I've written. There's one for every boy I've ever loved. 5 in all. When I write, I hold nothing back. I write like he'll never read it, because he never will. Every secret thought, every careful observation, everything I've saved up inside me, I put it all in the letter. When I'm done, I seal it, I address it, and then I put it in my teal hat box. They're not love letters in the strictest sense of the word. My letters are for when I don't want to be in love anymore. Therefore, goodbye, because after I write my letter, I'm no longer consumed by my all-consuming love. That is the start of To All the Boys I Loved Before. Lara Jean is your average high school girl. She has 2 sisters, Margot and Kitty, and their dad make up their family unit. Their mom died a handful of years ago, and the Song Girls rely on each other as a source of strength, with their mother no longer with them. So together they've always kept up their mother's Korean traditions, and Lara Jean's older sister Margot is going off to college, so she's going to be on the other side of the world, the literal other side of the world, and her younger sister Kitty is being as annoying as ever, and things are changing in Lara Jean's life. So she finds solace in sharing her secrets with her diary and in the letters that she writes to the boys that she's loved before. So one day, the letters go missing. We all saw this coming.
The letters are out.
The letters go missing. They are nowhere to be found. Initially, Lara Jean doesn't think anything about it until the letters start appearing in the hands of those boys who tell her that they received them in the mail. What could go wrong? So one day, Peter, one of the boys that Lara Jean can't stand and left behind a long time ago, has recently broken up with his girlfriend, and he convinces Lara Jean that maybe they could pretend they're dating.
Let's do this.
He could make his girlfriend jealous, and Lara Jean, who has a crush on the boy next door, could make him jealous. It's a great plan until it becomes too much to keep up with and things just kind of all start to go wrong. So will Lara Jean and Peter be able to pull off their dating scheme? And the biggest question yet, where will their love, hate, friendship come out on the other side the same, or is it going to develop into something more? You're going to have to read it to find out. And trust me when I say it, you're going to want to read the whole series. This one has made waves on Netflix. It went viral. People went crazy over it. It's really exciting. The book is better than the movie. But they've just been slated to have a second movie. So they're going to do a part 2, I guess, to finish up into the second book of the series, because this is a series. So if any of this sounds really interesting to you, after you read the book, you're going to want to hop over to Netflix and check out the first movie. Okay, so for this last book, we're going to talk about pride. So the Darcys are a very wealthy family. They move in across the street, and Zuri Benitez isn't having any of it. So what if the 2 boys in the family are super cute? Who cares? This is her neighborhood, and it's not welcome to posh boys who have more than everyone else and think that they're better than everyone else too. So Zuri Benitez is a girl with Afro-Latino roots. She's living in a large, very loud and proud family in a 2-bedroom apartment in the hood in Brooklyn. This area in Brooklyn is suffering from gentrification, which is the process where wealthy, often white people move in and fix up the neighborhood and turn it around and sell the buildings for so much more than they initially were worth. So the result is that many families no longer are able to afford their homes because the cost of living starts to go up. Most people have to start moving. So Zuri and her family have started to see this process happen in their neighborhood, and she begins to believe that her street isn't going to be recognizable for much longer. When the Darcys move in across the street, so here are the Darcys, one of our Darcy boys moves in across the street.
Is he amiable?
Is he handsome? He's single.
Zuri has decided that nothing good is going to come from this at all. She begins to make friends with the oldest brother. His name is Darius, and she starts to question everything that she thought she knew about him. So in the end, she starts to wonder, is Darius as unkind and prideful as we initially thought he was? Zuri's own pride is sort of standing in the way of a different kind of life for herself, one that might involve some sort of change, but it could be different in a good way. So in the book Pride, E.B. Zeboy retells the classic Pride and Prejudice story by Jane Austen. And for the most part, it stays really true to the story, but it brings it into the 21st century. And people aren't always as they appear to be, and sometimes relationships can bloom in the most unlikely of circumstances. Those are our 3 books. We had The Sun is Also a Star. This one is being made into a movie. You're not going to want to miss this one. Make sure you read the book before you read the movie. It is everything in a modern Romeo and Juliet story that you would want. Our second one, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. This is already on Netflix, but you definitely want to read the book before you watch the movie. And our third one, Pride. If you like classic stories, if you liked Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, you're going to want to read this one. Hope you enjoyed this book talk. Grab one of these books at your local library or check it out in the Wolf Den. We should have all 3.